Welcome into Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. This is Will Dundon here with Nick Truschel and Seth Coggin. Guys, how's the last week, the weekend? What did y'all get into?
Nothing too crazy going on, really. Just getting excited about this football season, just like we were talking, guys. It's closing in on a month here. College football, week 0. It couldn't come any sooner. I'm ready to get these dog days done with.
Yeah, the dog days. That's exactly what my buddy said the other day. We were lake hopping up in Bella Vista. So Bella Vista has a POA, Property Owners Association, and they were sending the lake rangers out on us. Our buddies built this winch, so we can. I say we. I don't really. I'm not too heavy into the water sports. I'm not too much of a wakeboarder, wake skier. I like to tube a little bit. I more enjoy my leisure time on the lakes. Anyway, got a winch, so they're up wake skating and wake surfing. And yeah, the lake rangers were absolutely out to get us. It was like, Super Troopers. It was like that, except for the Bella Vista POA lake rangers. And they met us at 3 different lakes. Like, they have a lot of lake. It's a big,
so they were just
they got some
you.
dams and stuff so it's all within this corridor. Yeah, they were just following us. And
Same rangers?
Well, all right. So here we pull up to one lake. We don't even get the winch in the water. The lake ranger comes up. He asks us to leave. Ask us if we have our card. We kind of say, "Oh no, I don't have my card. I left it at home or whatever. I didn't. I just moved. We just moved to Bella Vista. I just now became a property owner in the Bella Vista." Yeah. Anyway, so he does chase us off of that one, but we're like, well, there's a lot of lakes in the area where he's probably just making his rounds. Like, we'll go hit a different lake. Drive down about 10 minutes south. Hit another lake. Get the winch in. This was our best spot. It was a great spot. Got the winch. So it's in the back of this guy's Jeep truck. And so you just pull that right to the water and then you swim the winch out and it pulls you back in. Anyway, have some great runs there, but then we see him pull up. We see the lake ranger pull up. We make one of the world's greatest exits. Just dip. Like, we all get out the water, pack up, leave before he even says anything to us, dip before we have conflict. Hit our other lake up, Lake Ann, where we've gone before, had a good time. We've gone multiple times to Lake Ann. No problems. Well, we're there for one run. Actually, no, hold up. We're there for 2 runs. But we see the lake ranger from afar pulling up. This time it's a different truck. We think we're going to have less problems. Oh, it's a different guy. Like, who cares? He doesn't know. Anyway, 2 guys pull up out of the truck. It's like the higher up lake ranger in the blue shirt. This guy's got
the lake sheriff.
Yeah, the lake sheriff. Yeah, so he gets us out and he's sitting there, and as they're pulling up, my buddy's girlfriend is on the winch, like she's getting ready to go. And we were kind of like, cut it, like pull her in, and she's like, no, I'm going. And so right as the lake ranger's pulling up, she's just ripping this last run and like splashes just right in their faces. Anyway, we roll up. They're telling us we can't leave and that they're calling the cops and everything. And we just skirt on out of there and head home. Because I mean, they're lake rangers. Like, what are they gonna do?
It's like a mall cop.
All right, we're leaving. Like, we're leaving the lake. He's like, you got 5 minutes or the cops will be here. And I'm like, all right, we're just leaving. Anyway, so park hopping, but played some golf this weekend. My first in a while. I sell golf carts and I don't even golf anymore. Unfortunately, just time golf is a time sensitive sport, so hopefully that sparks. I played terrible, but that's kind of to be expected when taking about 8 months off from golf. So I think it sparked a little fire back in me for the game, so I'll get back out there and we'll be breaking 80 again soon.
Love to hear it.
That is some non-football activities. You think I'm spending a Sunday afternoon lake hopping if the Titans are on TV? I don't think so. I'm absolutely glued to the TV when the Tennessee football Titans are on.
Dude, I have some dog days of summer activities as well when there's no football on. I saw 2 movies this weekend.
Wow.
I went Friday night and Saturday night.
That's crazy.
Me and Madison went and saw the Elvis movie.
Yeah, big time.
We saw the Elvis movie Friday. I'd give it a solid 2.5 stars. It's totally average in my opinion. Okay. And I'm an Elvis fan. Like, I would have been mad if I didn't see it. But it was just writing and directing wasn't there. Austin Butler, pretty good as Elvis, not gonna lie. He did a good job, but it just wasn't what I was hoping it would be. Then Saturday, I'm watching the fights. Our buddy Jack came over to watch for a little bit. My little brother Wes came for a little bit, and then me and Wes are sitting on the couch and we're like, you know what? Let's just go see a movie. We're not doing anything else. So we went and saw the new Thor movie, and it
Oh
was
yeah.
solid. It was fine. It was what I expected. It was pretty funny, pretty entertaining. Oh, I will say, during the fights, y'all probably didn't watch it, but if you saw the last fight, the main event between Blades and Aspinall
Mhm.
actually ended in the first like 20 or 30 seconds. Aspinall fell weird on his leg and I think may have broken his leg, so they had to end the fight. Right before that, I'd been betting on fights all day. I actually bet on Blades to win in the first or last minute of the first round by KO or TKO, and
Oh my God.
the odds were like plus 1,600. I
It
only put
hit,
$10
baby.
on it, but still, I was like, dang, if only. That's
If
just the
only,
story with
if you had put
gambling.
100, yeah, that would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
that's the story with gambling. It's always, dang, if only I would have just put a little more,
You watch Patty?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Patty
dude.
Pimblett.
Patty went off, got the rear naked choke, teabagged
Yeah,
the guy,
nice submission.
and then gave his speech about making sure you speak up.
Yeah,
Pretty
men's
emotional
mental
and
health.
really awesome.
Because he had just
Yeah.
lost a friend to suicide that week.
Yeah.
So it was definitely a big
He's
moment for
electric,
him.
man.
He
got the
is. He's
crowd
fun to
behind him.
watch.
He's got the people.
He's climbing his way up the ranks, man, and probably the best division in the UFC.
He's the most entertaining. Like, I watched a press conference of his the other day. My butt Rob pulled it up, and for like 25 straight minutes, he was just constant. Like, you don't get entertainers like that, and he was just real. He was just talking. Like, yes, it was truly just him. Like, for unfiltered for like 25 minutes, just talking about his opponent, talking about his fight. Like, very intriguing, like very fun to watch, and just energetic and winning too. That's the key that you got to have when, like, in a sport like that. Like, you got to be winning. You can't just talk and have fun and be a great crowd pleaser. You're in UFC, like, you are there. They are there to punish you. You are there to get hit. So to do all of that and still come out and win and do it in pretty convincing fashion is pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, it was awesome because the fights were in London. So seeing him and his teammate, is it Molly
McCann? Yeah, Molly McCann.
Dude, seeing her win and immediately just swing out of the cage and jump into Dave Portnoy's arms. But
she's electric too. Those two teammates.
Dude, she was hilarious after the fights when they were interviewing her and Patty. She had drinking like half a pint of whiskey and had it in her hand, like she was still drinking. Like, that's what's kind of funny about these fighters too, is there aren't a ton of rules besides be entertaining and don't piss off Dana White.
Yeah.
So they can kind of do whatever they want, and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, they're just true Liverpool, like crazy people. And they like, just seeing Patty and Molly together is such a treat in entertainment. And their banter is great, and they love each other a ton. They're like brother and sister, it seems like, just up there fighting.
Well, and they're just like, you said both, like Liverpool people, like just gritty Liverpool people. I
mean, their accents are hilarious.
Yeah, their accents, and I mean, obviously they're fighters and everything, so it just adds to it. But they are perfect together. It's so fun watching them. But anyway, let's go ahead and anything y'all want to cover before we hop into we're gonna do a lot of college football talk today. Anything I want to cover before we hop in?
Shout out Tour de France.
Oh yeah.
21 days. It's an impressive event. 21 straight days of like biking like 100+ miles. Just crazy.
Pretty insane.
It's crazy. Through like the Pyrenees and the Alps, and whew, crazy.
I wonder how many calories they burn over the entire period.
You probably burn, like, I would guess you burn 11,000 a day on those bikes. I would bet.
Insane.
That's what I would guess. I mean, maybe not, maybe 10.
but
I don't
still,
know.
like
That's just
I mean, you're
over
just-
200,000 calories burned.
I mean, what though? Yeah, you're biking all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one?
I mean, it's probably
And no
between
blood
4
doping
to
either.
6 hours.
They're
Yeah.
watching for that because of old Lance. And so there's no PEDs, no nothing. It's just raw biking ability.
Would you? All right, I got a little theoretical question here. Would you trade? So, would you trade like an eruption of dominance and just career success with the knowledge that it will end at some point, and like you will be viewed as a cheater, or having like never done anything, like you just
I
never
would
make
definitely
it?
cheat. I mean,
Oh,
everybody
yeah,
still
that's
knows
okay.
Lance
So that's
Armstrong.
what it is. It's like either you can cheat and truly be a true great champion, or you never even make like the tour. Like you're not really even.
You don't even make the
factor.
tour.
Yeah, I'm cheating all day long if
Then
I'm,
yeah, I'm
becoming
cheating.
famous.
I
You're
think
still
if I
famous.
could
Barry
say,
Bonds, Pete Rose, Lance,
like,
A-Rod,
but
Mark McGuire.
I will say, like, if I made it, like, if I was one of the better professionals, then I would have some sense of, hey, I did this.
Yeah.
This is
Legit.
just me. Like, that's pretty cool. I will
Yeah.
say.
That's fair. That's why I have to pose it. You don't even make the tour. Like,
Then no,
but
yeah, I'm
you're still
cheating,
good.
dude.
You know, you're a good biker, but you're never quite. Or something. It
'Cause
could
then-
be something else. Like
You
then
get
you're
the
just that
endorsements
guy.
during the time.
You're just
What
that guy
other-
who's like, well, if I did this, like those guys, well, you didn't, so we don't know that.
you think guys like what's an equivalent of blood doping in a sport like that to I mean PEDs, yeah, in baseball, I guess, was similar, but even that feels different because like my thing on PEDs in baseball is like, yes, you still had to hit the baseball.
Yeah,
though.
you still had to.
Like-
it only
like
accentuates
yeah, and
your talent.
exactly. And it does create an unfair advantage. Like I get that point. But at the hitting a baseball is hard. I don't
You
care.
still got to hit a curveball
Yeah.
and still got to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Like Barry Bonds was an MVP before he had his great run in 01 to 04 with the Giants. So like he still would have been a Hall of Famer had he not used PEDs, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So Seth, do you think blood thinners or blood doping is a greater advantage than in biking?
Yes, solely because it's such an intensely like personal sport. I mean, even though you do have a team, like your true physical performance is a huge aspect of what the sport is.
Yeah, I'd agree
Like,
with that.
because it's not essentially, I mean, biking is truly one of the greatest cardiovascular tests of like pushing your cardiovascular limits. So if you are gaining an advantage in that small little category in which you are tested in, like being, PEDs essentially could make you stronger and stuff like that in baseball, throw harder, hit, but
You might
like
still
we were
suck
talking
at
about.
baseball.
Yeah, you might just not be able to hit a baseball. Like hitting a baseball, I don't care how strong you are. Once you hit it, like actually hitting it is still really hard.
And
So
there
I
are still
think-
really strong guys that like could never hit a
Yeah.
home run.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
might like I'm saying they might even hit a baseball pretty solid, but they for whatever reason they can't get it down to hit a home
Yeah.
run.
I just think I really think it's because of the controlled nature of the sport, to the fact where the factors are controlled. Like your biking is truly based on your biking ability. It's not based on how hard someone else is throwing. It's not based on any other. I mean, yes, there are factors like the team you're riding with, your new, I don't know, but you're just a lot more controlled in the elements at play in your sport.
Yeah, there's
it
still
affects
skill.
every facet when you're blood
Yeah.
doping. While you can have a pitcher just throwing nasty curveballs, hitting his corners, and you're not going to be able to hit, even if
It'd
you're
be
on
like
PEDs.
a golfer using like a golf is another example. There's no drug or anything, but it would be like equipment that's like cheating, like truly cheating, like ball, like where you
Yeah, if
couldn't-
you had the balls that go 50 extra yards, like the
Yeah.
long hit balls.
Well,
or
and they
whatever,
like
if you're
always
able to
go
use that.
straight or something.
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my thinking is like you cannot hit a ball, like you have to hit it straight somehow. If they made that happen, yeah, that would be because it's a
Electronic
personal
balls,
thing.
that
So
would be
it's
awesome.
like just a solo sport. there's not that many solo sports. And like even like a sport like tennis, I think having a direct opponent you're facing is
Has a
different than
difference.
like
Yeah.
something like maybe skating or like speed skating in the Olympics or something like that. Yeah, that would be the same thought in my head as doping. Like blood doping is just as bad in that kind of sport
Yeah.
because of or track. I guess like a track and field, all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
that I can get.
Because no other
Anyway,
person has an effect on your
yeah, it's like
performance.
cheating in different sports is like worse. Like we're kind of, it's almost kind of what we're saying right now. Like,
I
oh,
know it is.
if you cheat in baseball, it's like I don't really care. Like I'd like to see more home runs. Like I'd actively like to
Yeah,
see
I
guys
want
hit more
steroids to be
home runs.
legal. That would be awesome if
So,
everybody
but
was
if
roided up.
yeah, but if someone's and to be honest, that's I guess that's the really bad thing when it's like stuff that's dangerous for people because at the same time, I would like to see people bike faster. Like, yeah, I'd like to see people bike at the absolute extreme, like as good as modern technology can make a guy. Let's bike there.
It's like when you
But
hear the question or someone will throw it out there, man, what if you had an Olympics where everyone took steroids and then someone goes,
yeah.
well, that's the Olympics. So
And there that is the funny thing too, is like these truly elite, like we aren't really around like the truly elite level of professional athlete. Like we've been around good college athletes and like stuff like that, but I'm talking about like the truly elite level of professional athlete where they are so intensively training and they have people monitoring. Like they're always experimenting and doing stuff that is just technology that's come around that maybe hasn't even been determined. It's so new that hasn't even been determined whether it's legal or illegal. Like they're always testing, different products and chemicals and all sorts of mixtures and and all sorts of concoctions to get them to perform. And I mean, if you're not kind of towing that illegal line, I mean, you're I feel like you're missing out. Like
you're not
let's
trying.
peak. Yeah, let's peak.
Did y'all ever watch Icarus?
Like
Um
I,
what was
It's on
I know the
Netflix
story,
and
but
I haven't seen it. I want to watch it. And
no,
this could be wrong, but I think it was a guy doing a documentary on, I want to say Russian doping, like I don't remember if it was for biking or if it was for Olympics or what it was for, but I think he went undercover essentially and really found a ton of stuff about it. And it opened a bunch of people's eyes to, wow, everyone is really doping that's doing
everyone's
these
cheating.
extreme athletic feats or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's
You
something
see
I need to
someone do
watch it.
something that's you see someone do something and you're like, that's like superhuman. That's like unnatural. It's like, yeah, it kind of is.
It's
Like,
too
it's
good to be
not. It was
true.
done. It was done in a human body, but but yeah, it was caused by some synthetic.
Yeah.
Some synthetics.
Well, let's go ahead and hop into a little college football talk. We're going to cover the two premier conferences in college football as we usually do. We're going to switch it up a little bit, though. We're going to start off with a little SEC power rankings. Kind of, I guess, how we think this season will shape out. We'll go ahead and label it there. See, we'll rank them just each division. We can name champions if we want, but yeah, we'll go
Yeah,
through
should
each
we
division and rank. And then after that, we'll hop into a little Big Ten and do some over-unders like we did with the SEC. But Trushel, if you want to, or actually, Seth, I know you already have your rankings. So
I already got them.
actually, we can
Already
go
got
ahead
them
and kick it
dialed.
off with you and just, if you want to kind of say your thoughts on each team as you go or say all your rankings and then talk about your major thoughts.
Yeah.
I'll leave the
We'll
floor to
start in
you.
the East and then I'll just kind of run down what I got and then we can open the floor for discussion. Now, I played a little, well, some may accuse me of playing a little favoritism in my official rankings. But to them I say there's a long season ahead. Like, yeah, I might be wrong, but your rankings are probably wrong too, and mine aren't wrong just as yours aren't wrong yet. So until the end of the season, my rankings are just as good and valuable as anyone's. With
More
that being
people-
said, what?
I was just gonna say more people do need to recognize that because I hate when someone throws out a prediction and someone immediately is like, "Oh, that's not gonna happen." Like we
Yeah.
see a team every year
Yeah.
come out of nowhere and win 10 games that we thought was going to win 5 games, or even a team like South Carolina last year, who people thought might not even win 2 games, come out and go to a bowl game. So
Yeah, it
I did
happens
just want
every
to throw
year.
that in there.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate that. So with that being said, here are my official SEC predictions. We'll start with the East. At number 1, making a return to Atlanta for the first time in about 16 years. Is that about correct? Or is it long?
Uh,
2004?
Since
I don't
are
know.
we
Well,
talking
2011,
East?
16 years ago.
Or are we
But I think
talking
it was,
West?
if you're going with the Vols,
East.
I think it was
Oh,
07.
it was
the
07
Vols.
was the last year
07?
was the Vols. Yeah.
Hey, the last time the Hogs went was 06, so I think it may be maybe a sign of the times. Shout out Harry Styles. Yes, I do have the Tennessee Vols home, the SEC East. Now, I do that in part because of what we have predicted before, the Georgia hangover curse. I think they're going to have a little natty hangover where they're hitting the under, and let's just say they go 9-3. If they go 9-3, one of those losses is probably to the Vols. Let's be honest. If they lose 3 or 4 games, they're losing to the Vols. And if the Vols beat Georgia, give me 3 more losses on that scale. No, give me 4 more. If they beat Georgia, they would have to lose 4 times to not win that West or East if things go as said. So I'm predicting the Vols go 10-2, win the SEC East. At number 2, I do have Georgia. I think they are. I honestly think I haven't seen a weaker. This is a weak SEC East. I really think. I think it's going to get stronger. But I think this is a really down year because I think in year 1 with Napier, I don't think Florida's going to be great yet. And I don't know. We'll see if he's the guy down there anyway. Okay, but that being said, I do have Florida at number 3. That is a testament to how not very good I think Kentucky is. Because who am I going to put there? Oh, the longest tenured coach, Mark Stoops? No, I don't think they're going to be that good. I see them playing a lot of close games like they usually do. I feel like the last couple of years they've been on the good end of a lot of close games where it's like they didn't really have a ton of business winning these games. I think they might just kind of fall on the bad end. But I do have Kentucky at number 4, South Carolina at number 5. They're one I could see. I just don't see as much success as some are predicting. I think some are a little too high on South Carolina. I did not see much. And head to head, they just got dominated by the Vols, who I find very they have similar records and stuff, but the Vols absolutely dominated them head to head. So I don't think Spencer Rattler's all that good. I could come back to eat all these words. South Carolina could win the East. Who knows? That's college football, baby. And then to round it out, I got Vanderbilt at number 6. And that actually is kind of a surprise. I have Vanderbilt finishing ahead of the University of Missouri. So Missouri, I have a tough year, and I think Drinkwitz will be fired after this season at Missouri. So that's my one prediction in the East on coaching. I think he would be the only one to lose his job in the East. I don't know. That's what I thought. I didn't take it's not rocket science when I come up with my rankings sometimes. I really follow my intuition and my gut and what I think about things. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Putting the Vols on top's a little ballsy, but I didn't want to pick Georgia to win the SCs because I do not think they will. Although they probably will. But I don't think they will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the rankings. I mean, obviously we're each going to get into ours.
Yeah.
Mizzou last is pretty ballsy, I think. I think that's
Yeah.
even more ballsy than saying Georgia won't win.
Because
I think
Vanderbilt
putting
is
Vandy
so
ahead
bad.
of anyone is.
Well, to be honest, as I was reading them back, I kind of thought the same thing. I was surprised I didn't have Vanderbilt. I hadn't really thought much about it. I was almost surprised I didn't have Vanderbilt last, but I will stick with my rankings for now. But I do understand that.
I will say I think the East could be no one knows what's going to happen in the East because I think Tennessee's solid. I think Kentucky's okay. I think Georgia's still good. I think South Carolina might be okay.
Yeah.
Florida, I'm not sure about. Mizzou, not that good. Vandy
It's
sucks,
like
but you could have Florida, South Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee could finish in any order, and
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me.
It's like a tier of mediocrity this year. I feel like okay, Georgia did just win the national championship, like up pretty high. Then I think Tennessee is elevated above the true mediocre tier. That's why I think it's important that they have a very good year, because I think they are legitimately a better team than I think that line of Florida, Kentucky, Missouri, South Carolina is just very mediocre. Like I don't see anyone in that being real good at all. Like they might have some good games, they might be decent. Like they're all going to be decent. You know, Anthony Richardson's a good quarterback down at Florida, so like they having a good quarterback gives you a shot at being okay. Even in the first year, it's Florida. It's not like it's totally bare. You know, they got some good players, so I just don't think they'll rise to be like really good or a real tough challenge. I think Georgia and hopefully Tennessee can handle most of them with relative ease. Like you got to beat Florida this year at home in the coach's year one. You got to. You're going to be the better team. So win that kind of game. Oh yeah, we've talked about it before. We're high on the Vols. I think Vandy being last is well deserved. They've earned that.
I agree. Do we want to each do East and then do West, or do you want to go ahead and do your West prediction?
No, go ahead and get. We'll keep talking about the East. If you got any, like who you got? What you thinking?
Will, you want me to go, or you want me to take, or you want to take it?
Go for it, Trush.
All right. So I tried to look at this objectively. And now, while I would love to say Tennessee is going to win the East, I think, unfortunately, I do have to put the Georgia Bulldogs at number one. I could see a bit of a natty hangover, and that's what I'm hoping for. But, I mean, they're so talented and have a lot of returning starters, and they're just able to reload so easily. Plus, they have the number 3 class coming in. So they are absolutely dominant in all facets of the game there. So unfortunately gonna put Georgia at number 1. It's gonna be tough though. This isn't as much of a cakewalk form as it was last year, even though I kind of agree with you, Seth, that the SEC East is down a little bit with Florida. But I think Tennessee, being that team that is going to make a big jump, is going to give the Bulldogs some trouble. And I think it's even possible Tennessee beats them and Georgia still wins the East. So I'm putting Tennessee.
That'd be tough. That'd be tough to handle, just like to beat Georgia and then still lose. But I mean, you're very right. It could happen.
Yeah. And then Tennessee could lose to Kentucky, LSU, Bama, and then Georgia wins the East. So I think, unfortunately, something like that could happen. But I am going to have the Vols take a nice little jump and end up in second place. So I think Hendon Hooker returning, obviously a big deal right there. His chemistry with Cedric Tillman, going to be making a lot of noise, a lot of offense. And hopefully the defense does improve, but it's still a question mark. Can't be giving up 40 points, 30 points regularly like they did last season. And expect to win the East. So we're going with Tennessee at number 2. I mean, here's a little scare or a little something that could surprise you guys a little bit. I have South Carolina coming in at number 3. We know how big I'm on.
Yeah, you just picked them in the draft. They're in your conference.
I picked them in the draft. I picked them in my conference. I got to hope for some South Carolina success this season to boost up my conference rankings. So I could see 8 wins for South Carolina this year. And they did get 3 first place votes for the SEC preseason media poll, which is in third behind Georgia and Kentucky, which Kentucky somehow got 4 votes to finish first, but also Vanderbilt got a vote. So this preseason media poll has been thrown out the window for me. So we have South Carolina coming in at number 3. Kentucky coming in at number 4. I think they finished middle of the pack. They're going to be decent, but Will Levis is not as good as the media is making him out to be. I mean, we saw, and the fact that he just puts mayonnaise in his coffee. I mean, that's disgusting. I hate him for it. I hate the Wildcats. They're not finishing in second place like the preseason media poll has them at, coming at number 4. Then we have Florida coming in at number 5. Billy Napier is going to have a rough season coming in. They lost a lot of players to the transfer portal. They do have a decent class coming in, but not a great one. They're going to have a lot of ground to make up. I don't know if Anthony Richardson is totally going to be that guy. So they'll end up coming in at 5 there. I'll jump on the Vanderbilt train. I have them coming in at number 6. I think Elia is going to have some trouble this year. Could see him getting fired. We're putting Missouri at number 7. They're going to have a terrible season. Going to get ran up and down the field all season long. Sorry, Drinkwitz, you're probably gone after this year. On the hot seat, it's going to be even worse. So, yeah, we'll round out the number 7 spot there for Missouri.
All right, Trucial, we have almost the same rankings, and I'll read mine off in a second. But I actually did one of the mega record predictors, because as we mentioned when we were doing the SEC over-unders, it's easy to kind of say, oh, this team will win 8 games, this team will win 7 games, and then you look at the schedule and you go, yeah, and then we say, oh, wait, they can't all do that. So I've got Georgia coming in at number 1 in the East. I have Tennessee at 2nd. I have Tennessee going 10-2, and I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I don't actually think Tennessee will go 10-2. As I was going through the games, as I was going through the games, I go, oh yeah, Tennessee's better than this team. But at the same time, I know they're going to drop.
The better team doesn't always win.
Right. And they're probably going to drop. I would say Tennessee's going to drop 2 games that really leave a sour taste in Vol fans' mouth. But I still think they could actually end up being 2nd in the East still if they go 9-3. Obviously, I think that's very doable to end up 2nd in the East with the rest of the teams. I have South Carolina at number 3.
Let's go.
But I will say I have South Carolina at 3. I have Kentucky in 4. And actually, Kentucky has a better record after looking at my record predictor. South Carolina going 7-5, Kentucky 8-4, both going 4-4 in the conference. So I have South Carolina beating Kentucky head to head. So that's where they end up a spot ahead. But I think that sounds good too. South Carolina 7-5 with a win over Kentucky, I could definitely see happening. I'm with you, Trucial. I think Kentucky's solid. I think they'll be fine. They'll beat most of the teams they're supposed to be, but those toss-up games, I think South Carolina beat. Then I have Florida coming in at 5. I have them going 5-7, 2-6 in the conference. Then I also have Missouri going 5-7, which y'all are kind of swaying me on a little bit. I don't think Missouri will be last, but maybe they do go 3-9 or something this year. I have Vanderbilt in last place going 1-11, 0-8 in the conference. I think they play Elon or someone, so maybe I give them that.
They lost.
I don't see them beating Hawaii.
Year, so who knows?
Yeah, I don't see.
You got to get that
Hawaii.
out of your mouth. This is year 2 of the Clark Lee era. We're finishing. We're finishing 6th.
What happens? If they go 1-11, is it no big deal?
I think there's literally 0 expectations right now for Vanderbilt. So I think they're going to give Clark Lee 4 or 5 years, no matter what.
Yeah, I just wonder. Maybe he will pull off 4 or 5 wins one year, and that'll give people oh, hey, here's a little momentum. But if he just goes max 3 wins for the next 3 or 4 years,
you got to can him,
right? But I honestly
he is the hometown hero, though.
I mean, that has to
hero.
It has to happen before we make any claims. He would have to only win that many games. But if he did do that, I don't even know if they would fire him. Honestly, I don't know what you do. It's
gonna take a lot to get fired.
Yeah,
a lot of bad. I think I wrote it down. I've noted it. I'm predicting a little jump for the Commodores this year. I'm excited to see the progress in Clark Lee era. Shout out West End.
Shout out
Down
West
the
Edge.
street.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings if Vandy won a few games.
As long as Tennessee keeps beating them, let them get 8 wins.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, make it a better win.
Yeah, exactly. Seth, you want to hop into your West predictions?
All right. To the West, staying with a familiar face, the Arkansas Razorbacks will get back to the promised land of Atlanta, Georgia. And they will take home the SC West championship for the first time since 2006. Really excited about this season. Kind of in the same way I think about the East, I think about the West. You have your traditional clear top dog in Bama. No disputing that. They have been the best. They've won the most SEC West championships. They've won the most national championships. They are the big dog, but it's been a while since the Razorbacks beat them. We have an experienced quarterback. We have them at home this season in Fayetteville. I'll be in the building. And I just think that the Hogs are going to get over the hump. They're going to beat Bama, and they are going to win the SEC West. I know it requires beating more than Alabama, but that they are the biggest hump to get over. So I think if you do beat them, you have a really good chance. But like you said with Tennessee, there's a scenario I could see Arkansas beating Alabama and not winning the West, which would be just kind of a letdown. Like that's almost how I look at Texas A&M season last year.
I was about to say,
Congrats, you beat
could
Bama,
you have
but
told
you did not.
A&M fans you'll beat Bama and still go 8-4 or whatever they did? They would not believe that before the season.
I would probably trade. I used to, if you had said, "Look, you beat Bama or like Auburn or someone like that's the only game you win." I literally, when we went 2-10 back 2 years in a row, I said I would do that because I would literally trade one great, exciting win for. Like, I'm already going to lose 10 games. Might as well have one good one and lose 11. But these days are a little different. Like, Arkansas could lose to Bama and still go 10-2 and have a great season. Or, they could beat Bama. So I think, anyway, I pick them to win. Why not? Like, someone's got to do it. And I think Arkansas I think they're in a good position because they are kind of gotten a little respect. But they're still a little like under the radar. Like they're still kind of on the hunt a little bit. I think it's a great time for them to break through. All right. I do keep Bama at number 2. They are too consistent, too loaded to, finish very far back, even if they do happen to slip up once or twice. Bama at number 2. I have a surprise number 3 in Mississippi State. I'm going to value Will Rogers. I'm going to value Mike Leach in a year. I think this is going to be Mike Leach's peak year. I think this is going to be his best year at Mississippi State. That's kind of how it goes. He about 3 or 4 years in, he has a really good year at wherever school he is, and then he kind of bounces out. I think this is kind of his year to have he has a good quarterback in the system. He hasn't Mike Leach is the kind of guy that can wear thin on a program, I think, like just over and over. In almost a good way, like he's almost refreshingly just like himself, but he is kind of weird and strange and like time after time after time. It's like when it's your program, it's not like some you see some of the highlights, but like when it's your program day in and day out, like it can kind of wear a little thin. And I just think this is going to be his best year at Mississippi State, finishing third in the conference. A true testament. Congratulations, Mississippi State. You're not champions like the Razorbacks will be, but a third place finish for Mike Leach is very good. In all seriousness, finishing third in the West is a good finish.
Well, I think you're right too about Leach.
Yeah, I agree.
We saw it at Tech. We saw it at Washington State. He has a quarterback that's been in the system for a little bit. That's pretty solid.
Yeah,
that has natural ability. That's good. That can sling it. Maybe they're not the most gifted, but they fit the system really well. And he rattles off a really good year. So I could definitely see that happening.
Like I could see them, like they could go. I could see them. I don't know their schedule. They go 8-4 pretty easy. I could imagine.
I have them at 8-4.
And then I do have at number 4. I have Texas A&M. just as Jimbo is very mediocre, so shall too be the Texas A&M Aggies. Number 4 in the conference, dead middle. Number 5, I have Ole Miss. I think they do regress a little bit from last year. I do like Lane Kiffin. I think he's a good offensive coach, but I think they are going to regress on their season last year. I think Matt Corral was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, and a perfect fit for that offense. And that offense is quarterback friendly and will produce someone with good numbers and stuff. But I'm saying he had an extra little bit in the close games, the games that changed. They won 10 games for like the first time in Ole Miss program history last year. Like, to win, the difference between winning 10 games and winning 7 games is so minuscule. Like, and having a good quarterback that you can rely on is huge. And so I think that kind of drops them from where last year you have a guy like Matt Corral, things go good, you win 10 games. This year you take a step back because your quarterback's not quite as elite. You win 7 games. Still not a terrible year, still pretty good at Ole Miss, but not quite the year they had last year. And this is where, once again, the bottom of my list gets a little tricky. You could flip-flop the bottom of my list and be pretty good with it, but I actually have Auburn at number 6, and I have LSU finishing dead last in the conference. Now, some of that may be coming from, I kind of think of LSU right now, I think of Will Wade, his departure. So they're on the first year of coaches for basketball and football. And at basketball, there was a point with 0 players on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And that just can't be good. I don't know. I don't know about a program I've never seen a program with 0 players on the roster. Now, obviously, that wasn't the football program. And Brian Kelly is an established coach. I think he's a terrible misfit at LSU. And I think it's going to show itself year 1, a sign of really bad things to come. And he's going to get 3 years. He's going to get year 1. He's going to have a better year. No, I think he'll get 4 years. He's going to have a better year 2. Like, he's going to have a bad, like, I'm predicting them to finish last. Like, a bad year at LSU. 4-8. I think 4-8 probably. I think Harsin will get fired because I think they'll probably be like around last place, both of them. It's like technically Auburn finishes higher, but I think they'll both win 2 conference games. Maybe even 1. I've watched Arkansas lose 10, and that was brutal. So, that was back when, no, they didn't. They only went 0-8 twice. Thank God. When they went to the 10 game SEC schedule in COVID year, we had just come off back-to-back 0-8 seasons. I could not handle going 0-10, 0-10 and running the total to, like, I don't think you come back from that. Like, that's what I always say. Sam Pittman literally saved our program. Like, we were going to be dead. If you have another, let's just say they keep Chad Morris. It was only year 3. Keep Chad Morris for year 3. Go 0-10 in the SEC. Your combined record is 0-26 in the last 3 years in the SEC. Like, your program's just dead. It's automatically eliminated. Anyway, so that's my rankings. LSU last, Auburn 6th, but Brian Harsin gets the can. So I'm predicting Eli Drinkwitz and Brian Harsin will be fired this football season. Those are my coaches to be fired. And Jimbo's seat will get a little bit hotter. I think Jimbo's seat's going to be pretty hot going into next season. I'll say that.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think I don't think A&M is cracked up as everybody is thinking right now. They do have 3 first place votes in the preseason media poll. They're not finishing first
quarterback.
Place.
Haynes King.
Yeah, Haynes King. Wasn't he injured last year?
King.
Yeah.
No way. He's that good.
We'll see.
I think A&M's jerseys and the shoulder pads make their quarterbacks look terrible.
Nah, I kind of like A&M's unis.
No, I'm not saying I'm saying the actual cut of their shoulder pads makes their quarterbacks look weird.
I don't know.
Just go look at it. Just go take maybe it's the Adidas cut. Just like it's like their shoulders, it's like the pads. Maybe it was just Kellen Mond. I watched Kellen Mond beat me 4 straight times in Dallas, and I couldn't stand that guy.
They do have, I think that's actually just the quarterbacks. Trevor Knight did that. Kellen Mond
That's what
did
I'm
it where
saying.
they pop their throwing shoulder sleeve just up over. So it's
Yeah.
just bare arm. And it
Yeah.
looks
Yeah.
kind of funky.
It just
A little
bothers
funky looking.
me. But that's what bothers me because their quarterbacks always look terrible. I'm like, man, this guy's a bum. Not even look terrible. Like, I'm not hating on the style. I'm just saying, I don't know. Something about it doesn't look normal.
I can see it.
Haynes King. His name's Haynes King. What was he, a 5-star in Texas?
Yeah.
You're starting to realize that players from Texas are just so vastly overrated. How do you think Texas has a top 10 recruiting class every year and continually sucks? Because all the players that they're recruiting are garbage. Like people there's just exposure saturation on players in Texas.
I'd have to take a look at that. I'm really not arguing with you, but
Texas
I would
A&M
like
and Texas both have had consistently classes good enough to compete truly at a national level. And I mean, Texas A&M's been probably better than Texas, but very mediocre on both ends, playing to the level that they have recruited at year after year, which leads me to believe that these guys are overrated. They're actually just elevated.
It's a fair point.
But I mean, you see that now. The Alabama bump is so real. If a guy starts getting recruited by Alabama, he automatically gets bumped to a 4-star. If Alabama wants a guy, he's auto 4-star. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty much.
There could be he could have 10 offers from decent SEC schools and be a low 3-star, something like that. And then all of a sudden Alabama jumps into the mix. They're interested.
4-star.
Oh, the new rankings came out. He's a 4-star.
Yeah, and I feel like I've seen too many times where a player will commit to Tennessee and then immediately their ranking drops next week. every time a high-ranking player commits to Tennessee, it's oh, he committed to Tennessee. There's no way this guy is actually good.
Well, that's the Huskers got Thomas Fidone, who was the number 1 tight end in the country, had offers from everywhere, and then he committed to Nebraska, and they just refused to make him a 5-star. I was like, you were I get it's tight end, but he's number 1. But yeah, Trushel, why don't
some bias
you hop
there.
into your West rankings?
So West rankings, mine honestly aren't that far off from yours, Seth. We have a couple of differences, but the first difference here, as much as I hate to say it, I'm going with Bama at number 1, trying to look at this from an outside perspective.
Bama, Georgia in Atlanta. That's so fun. Everyone wants to see that.
I don't want to see it, but I think it may happen. And Bama, they do have a top 10 recruiting class right now. Tennessee is ahead of them, but I was just looking at the rankings, and there's 3 4-stars or 3 5-stars and a couple more 4-stars about to commit to Bama. So they're going to end up near that top 3 ranking for sure. So I think Alabama, Bryce Young is incredible. Saban is incredible. They're going to finish number 1, unfortunately. But just like I was talking about with the East, I do have Arkansas coming in at number 2, going to have a great season. But like we were talking about, it could be one of those crazy things where they beat Bama, but end up going 10-2 or 9-3 and coming in second place.
I actually would accept. I have one concession I would make. There's one scenario where I accept losing the West.
10-2.
Now beating Bama losing to Bama, but going 11-1 and still getting in the playoff. Don't even have to play in the SEC championship.
That would be awesome.
That's a real possibility.
Because if Arkansas win 11-1, we would have wins over Cincy, BYU outside of the conference.
Yeah,
and then obviously our conference. Yeah, obviously our conference schedule. I think we definitely would still make it.
I could see it happening.
A little backdoor action. Play Bama, get in the Natty.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see maybe, Tennessee.
Hogtied.
Well, it'd be tough for Tennessee and Arkansas both to lose the East and West, but still make the playoffs. Hopefully something insane happens and a bunch of teams lose. And just everybody's losing. And Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Arkansas. That would be electric.
Yeah, 3 out of 4 SEC teams would be awesome. People would hate that so much, but it would be so fun.
It would be fun. I hope it
I wish it
happens.
was 4. I would watch
Yeah.
an SEC tournament, like an all SEC tournament would be so sick.
That's a dream scenario. Hopefully,
No, there's one fever dream scenario I have had in my brain where like your regular season schedule is like 6 games, and then you play like a 4 game conference tournament, and then you play like it's just all tournament based. Like you only play maybe even less than that. Like you play like several regular season. I think it was when I was thinking about a 64 team tournament. So you played your regular season, and it was a double elimination. I don't know. It had relegation involved. I need to write down this. I have it. I
you
have
need
the
to
notes.
put these
No,
thoughts on paper.
I have the notes somewhere. I'll find them, and I'll maybe even do like a small recorded, just like by myself, just get in the lab, write it on a whiteboard, and just go to town.
Just
on
record yourself on a whiteboard. I would love that.
Yeah.
I'd
All
watch
right.
it.
This is what this is this is my dream for a realignment and how our conference is decided and everything. 64 team tournament in football would be awesome.
It would.
So awesome.
But Seth, I do have to agree with you on the Mississippi State
Oh, nice.
run here. I have them coming in at number 3. I think you're spot on with that. Leach, big year. The air raid offense is a beautiful thing to watch. And I can just see it working out for the guys this year. He does have an experienced quarterback, has had a couple of years to implement a system. They got a shot at coming in at number 3. At number 4, I have Ole Miss finishing a little bit higher than I think some people expect. They are going to have a down year.
I mean, 4 is
pretty good.
Seems about right.
4 seems about right. But I have Jimbo and the A&M Aggies sliding
Ooh,
all the way to
that
number
seat's getting
5.
hot. That seat is getting
All the way
hot.
to number 5. It is going to be rough for Jimbo. I could see a 7-win season coming here, maybe a 6-6 season for Jimbo.
I think 6-6, he might get the can. I'm not even
Aggie
lying.
fans
I
would be
think
distraught.
Yeah, they would be distraught. So Reese, if you're out there listening, sorry, man. Aggies aren't it this year. They're going to have a down year. Haynes King is not all he's cracked up to be. The Aggies are going to have
His name's
trouble.
Haynes King.
He's not a king. I know that.
That name's fake. That name is fake. That's like a video game. Like,
yeah, that's like a created player on
GTA.
NCAA 14.
yeah.
So we have A&M coming in at number 5. Number 6, LSU. They do have a decent class coming in. They've lost a lot of players. Kind of a revolving door for the quarterback scenario. Nobody really knows who's going to start. And that's just going to lead to some troubles. I could see them not having a great season. And then Harsin, I also think is going to get fired. They tried to fire him earlier this year. Didn't have success with that, with like all the allegations and scandals and stuff going on. So they're itching. Auburn is itching to fire Brian Harsin, and he's going to finish last in the SEC West. He's gone.
Here you go.
All right. The SEC West, I have every team except for one going bowling. I will mention that.
Nice.
I do have Alabama at number 1. I have Arkansas right behind them. I feel very confident in the top 2. Like it will be those 2. I'm not even saying like
Wow.
Arkansas might pull it off
Love
this
that.
year, but I feel super confident that Alabama and Arkansas will be top.
I think
of the
I've
West.
inspired maybe too much confidence in the Razorbacks and you guys. I should have it. I've been there. I have the confidence in me, but I enjoy how much you guys have in them as well.
I mean, I watched them last year. I think I do think KJ is one of the best.
KJ's
Good,
nasty.
man.
Yeah. I do have A&M at number 3 with Mississippi State at 4. I could see them flip-flopping, but I feel pretty confident in that being the top 4. Bama, Arkansas, A&M, Mississippi State. We're going to see how Haynes King does. That's what it all comes down to. If he is really good, then A&M will probably win 9 or 10 games. If he's not, we're looking at 6 or 7 wins again, most likely. Mississippi State, I agree. I think Mississippi State could go 8-4. I think that's very realistic. I think I specifically see Mississippi State being Brian Kelly's kind of what the heck is the SEC game. You know, like that's a game, you know, if you're Brian Kelly, you know, you don't think, oh, I'm going to lose to Mississippi State. That's a team, if you're that kind of coach, you don't want to lose to. but I think that's going to throw them for a loop when they throw 60 times in a game. I have LSU at number 5. I have them going 7-5. I think that's pretty realistic. We'll see. I think I mentioned it last week, but I think it's Jaden Daniels coming over to play quarterback from Arizona State.
Mm-hmm. He's pretty good.
I think he's enough of a playmaker that'll win him a couple games, maybe keep things exciting. But we're going to see how Brian Kelly does. That's going to be one of the big storylines, I think, these next 3 years, because I'm kind of with y'all. I don't see him overcoming anyone really in the SEC West. That's just as good of a coach he is. It's just hard to start something now and get it over while you already have these other programs on the rise or continuing to hum. I have Ole Miss at number 6. I have them going 6-6. I think that sounds about right to me. I don't know about this Jackson Dart kid. He could be fine. I just don't see Ole Miss really wowing anyone this year. I think they'll be fine. Maybe win a game they shouldn't, lose a few games they shouldn't. And then I have Auburn coming in last place, 3-9, 0-8 in the SEC. Brian Harsin out.
Yeah.
We're all off the Harsin train. He's done.
The Harsin train, I think, is crashing and burning. It's already off the tracks. I just think it's going to be. I really don't even hope so at this point. See, this is just confession time. I used to hold a lot of hate in my heart towards the Auburn football program, due to some things done by former regime. But I'm a truly changed man, and it kind of pains me. I got a good family that are Auburn people, and it kind of pains me to see them. But this may be kind of their cleansing this year. I think they're due for, just we all go through it as programs. Like, you just have a real bad year. You got to suck it up and take your losses where they come and man up and maybe get a new coach and, and hope for success in the future. I think
they won a natty not long ago. I can't feel too bad for them.
Yeah, their time has come.
If you told me the Huskers would win a natty, but in 8 years we go 3-9, I'd take it in a second.
Yep. What kind of next decade would you take for a natty this year? I want you to really think. I want you to really think about that question.
A natty?
A full decade.
I would take literally anything. Dude, a natty. I might not see a natty in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's true.
National championship.
That's the other thing. I get what you're saying, but at the same time, like, there's a real possibility I just never see a national championship.
Yeah, but I could say, okay, I watched Arkansas go 2-10 2 years in a row. I could not watch that for 10 years in a row. Like, it would be over. We wouldn't. I don't care if we won a national championship for 10 whole years of going 2-10. It wouldn't really
hurt.
No, see, that's where I think you might be wrong.
No, I'd still take a natty. Like, getting to experience that, I don't even know what I would call it. That ecstasy of a national championship win, nothing could ever bring me down. Yeah,
but for the next decade, your fall Saturdays are going to suck.
I would take it. That's all I can say.
All right. Would you take that, or Nebraska and Tennessee both go 10-2 at least okay. Yeah, I'll say that at least. So it's either you get a national championship and you go 2-10 for the next 10 years, or you don't guarantee a national championship, but you do guarantee that you win at least 10 games. For the next 10 years. I'm taking at least 10 games too. You're going to play for a natty at some point.
Yeah, the odds are stacked in your favor if you're winning at least 10 games.
And I think you're going to enjoy it more. And I get that, getting actually winning a natty is insane. I can't fault that argument.
I mean, if you're telling me there's if there's a chance that I could still win a natty, even going 10-2, or at least 10 wins. Like, there's a chance we go 12-0 one year or something. Yeah, I think I'd roll the dice on that.
I think you got to
roll the dice on that at that point.
Because, there's other things that come with that. We probably win a Big 10 championship in there or something too.
Yeah.
Oh, probably a couple. You probably win a few Rose Bowls.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
If not a natty. I mean, you still, that's the thing. It's like, if you're 10-2 for 10 straight years, at least, you're probably at least 11-1. And 11-1 in the Big Ten or SEC probably gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah. If you win the conference, like if you win the Big Ten or the SEC, you're in as far as we've seen.
Yeah.
Maybe a 2-loss Big Ten champion doesn't get in, but even then you have a pretty solid chance.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Big Ten, we can rattle this off pretty quick because I don't think this will take as long. But Trushel, do you happen to have the
I do.
over-unders?
I've got them pulled up, and I do have the entirety of the schedules here pulled up as well. So if we do need to pull up any immediate schedule questioning, I've got the whole Big Ten schedule right in
That's
front
what
of
I'm
me.
talking about.
So we'll go ahead and kick things off with some win totals, just like we did with the SEC. I have DraftKings pulled up here. And real quickly, I do want to run through Rutgers first because so far the only website that I can see with any win totals associated with Rutgers is CBS at 4, but any sports book you look at, it has to be announced for Rutgers for some reason. So
Interesting.
Apparently Vegas is still cooking something up for Rutgers. Maybe there's something in the works here we don't know about.
I think Rutgers, it's possible they get a sneaky bowl game this season.
I could
or
see them going
something.
6-6, something
Who's
crazy
their
happening.
coach?
Shiano.
That's what I was gonna say. It's Shiano, isn't it?
Yeah, he's back, baby. He's back for blood.
And I believe
you're saying 4.
That's what CBS had him at, but you can't get anything on a sports book.
I believe former Nebraska backup Noah Vedral is the quarterback as well. And he's pretty solid. He's solid.
All right. I'll take the over. Fine. You guys convinced me.
Well, I'm actually going under, but I could see it happening.
Yeah.
Like Rutgers is a real question mark. They're not quite even what they were a couple years ago. Like I think they could steal a game from the lower level Big Ten teams or even the middle of the pack Big Ten teams, which there are a lot of. So I think they'll have plenty of opportunities to get to 6 wins. But I did the same thing I did with the SEC with the Big Ten. I did a kind of a record predictor. So based off that, I'm going to go under. I'm going to say they go 3-9.
I could see it. Then we'll get into the actual teams that you can bet on. Illinois, we have coming in at 4.5. So over 4.5 is -25, 125. Bielema, they start off the season with Wyoming. They play Chattanooga as well as one of their non-conference games.
Didn't they lose to they lost to UTSA last year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they have
did.
Virginia as well out of the ACC.
I'm
that they're
taking
gonna have to
under.
play.
Yeah.
I think
I would
4-8.
say Illinois.
They're staring 4-8 in the face.
I'm going to go ahead and say Illinois and Indiana are the 2 Big Ten teams I have the most confidence in saying they will not make a bowl game. So, and I think Illinois is going to be pretty bad this year. I see them going 2-10 or something. So I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm thinking under is the plus money at +105. So you could get a little value there under 4.5. Speaking of Indiana, they're right around that same mark at 4 even, -110 on both sides. I could see, honestly, that being a push there. I could see Indiana getting 4 wins.
Wait, how many? What's it?
It's at Indiana's at 4.
Over.
I'm saying under.
Indiana program's been.
They've got to
better
play
lately.
Cincy. They've got to play Western Kentucky. They've got some tough non-conference games.
Yeah, but they also play in the Big Ten.
No, but I
So we
think
got a few.
they've been regressing since they had that big COVID year.
Yeah, that is true. That year was awesome.
I'm into a little. I'm in a little bit of the Big Ten Twitter just because of some of the Husker accounts I follow, and someone did mention what's their coach's name? Is it Herman? Something Herman?
I have no idea.
They talked about I just saw a random tweet the other day that was like, "Wow, he's really running that program into the ground with no context."
Oh,
So
Tom
I'm gonna-
Allen. You're thinking
Tom
of a
Allen.
different Tom.
So I'm
Allen.
gonna run that as my hot tip and say that Indiana's gonna
Yeah.
go under.
All right.
Because I mean, Western's not an easy non-conference game since he isn't, and they also have to play the Idaho Vandals. Not a pushover.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for Indiana. Next up comes Iowa at 7.5, sitting at the over -105, under
Dude,
-115.
When's Iowa's an 8-4 absolute machine.
Do you have pull up Iowa's schedule?
Yeah, so they're playing looks like South Dakota State, Nevada, are their non-conference, and then Iowa State as well. So
Iowa State's not
Iowa
going to be
State's
too
taking
good
a
this year.
drop back this year, yeah.
So that's 3 right there.
and then obviously they're
They're in
starting
the
off the
8.
season. So South Dakota State, Iowa State, Nevada, Rutgers. They could be going 4-0 into Michigan on October 1st.
Probably take
Can you read me off the schedule real quick?
Yeah,
Starting at Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan, then Illinois, got their bye week after that. Then they go through Ohio State, Northwestern, Purdue, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Nebraska to finish off their
I
season.
got them at 8-4.
I have them
And
at
that's
6
with
and
a
6.
loss to the Huskers. I have them losing to the Huskers, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and Michigan, and still going 8-4. I think
I
that's
actually
See
have
them
them
slipping up to Minnesota, Purdue.
I think they'll split that. So I'll have them at 7 and 5.
7 and 5.
Under. Yeah, 7 and 5.
I could see it. I think
They could go. The reason I think I picked them going 6 and 6 because I could see them losing to Minnesota and Purdue. But I'm gonna say they beat Minnesota, lose to Purdue.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think we might have just lost Seth, but we'll let him join back on.
we'll get him
work
back.
through the technical difficulties here. Moving along here, we have Maryland at 6 even, +100 for the over, -120 for the under. Maryland is playing Buffalo. Let's see here, SMU, and then what is this? I'm trying to think. I'm just looking at the logos here. God, what is this team? It's like a green C. I'm blanking on the
Tulane.
no, not a T, a C.
Oh, I thought you meant like a C, like a wave, like the green
No,
wave.
yeah, no, the green waves. I'm blanking.
A
I know the
green
look.
C?
Yeah,
Charlotte.
yeah, Charlotte. Good Lord. I knew the team, but yeah, so they play Buffalo, Charlotte, and SMU for non-conference. Then they got Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, bye week, Wisconsin, Penn State, Ohio State, Rutgers. So that's really a pretty tough schedule across the board. I feel like they don't really get, I mean, obviously starting off non-conference, SMU is not a pushover. Buffalo is not a pushover.
Yeah, Buffalo is not.
Yeah,
I have them going 6 and 6. Like I have a push. I would stay away from it, but I would veer towards under just because they could slip up to Buffalo, maybe SMU. I don't know. I wouldn't think so, but
they could. It certainly could happen.
Yeah. Seth, perfect timing. Seth's coming back on.
Perfect timing for the next team here. Michigan.
Seth, real quick.
Oh,
wait.
yeah.
Well, Seth, we just ran through it. Maryland, 6 even. What you got?
Under.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Maryland.
Maryland. They've got a pretty tough schedule.
You know what? I'd like to say over, but I'm going to say under. Or they might
think they're going
6.
6
Do
and
they
6,
still have
but I'm
Talia?
veering towards under.
Talia Tagovailoa, Tua's little brother. I think he's still there.
I think they do.
He's kind of hyped up too. He's kind of
I think-
like Levis.
He's overhyped. Yeah.
If he was as good as Tua, he'd be at Alabama still, is my kind of thought.
Yeah.
He's not that good.
He's
So,
fine. Like he has
Fine.
arm
He's
talent,
serviceable.
but
Yeah.
he'll throw 4 picks one of these games,
Mhm.
guaranteed. Book it. 4 picks in one game for Talia.
Maybe take the over on his interceptions for the season. See if you can get that prop.
Ooh, yeah.
We have Michigan coming up next at 9.5.
It's a toughie.
That is pretty tough.
I'm
I
going
could see them
under.
winning. I could see them winning 9 games. So they got to play. Ooh, their non-conference is pretty easy though.
Yeah.
Colorado State, Hawaii, and UConn to start off the season. Then go Maryland, Iowa, Indiana, Penn State. Get
They
their
could lose to
bye.
Penn State.
Yeah, and Penn State's got a great recruiting class coming in this year as well. Then Michigan State, Rutgers, Nebraska, Illinois, and Ohio State to finish the season.
Well, they're losing to the Huskers. and they're losing to Ohio State, and
could
they're
see
going to
it.
lose one more for sure. They're
Michigan
probably going to lose
State.
two more. They're probably
I
going to go
think
8-4.
I think they bounce back and beat Michigan State this year. I'm going to say they lose to Penn State, Ohio State. I would love to say the Huskers. I really would. So I will.
I think
Under.
last year was a blip on the radar of success for Harbaugh. He actually was trending down before
And
they.
kind of the weird stuff at the end where he was potentially leaving. Could
Yeah.
leave the fans a little jaded, leave the program a little
It
with some
absolutely
unrest.
should. You have this dream job. You're a Michigan man, and you're
You lose
flirting with
Hutchinson, Haskins.
You're flirting with the NFL. I think they're going to take a pretty big drop. They're going to go back to what they normally have been under Harbaugh, which is about 8-4.
I think they'll go 9-3 with
Still
I
under.
think 9.5 is kind of the perfect line. I mean, the Big Ten just isn't top heavy enough. I think Michigan State's going to take a step back. Penn State, though, I do think Penn State will be pretty good. Ohio State will beat them. And then Nebraska will be hopefully kind of the wild card game. We'll see. But yeah, I'll go under actually. I'll say 9-3.
And we have Michigan State coming up next at 7.5, plus 100 for the over, minus 120 for the under. I kind of like the over on this. Yeah, I kind of like the over on this.
I like over guy. Too. I know I said they'll take a step back, but I still think they'll win 8 games, maybe 9.
I think 8's the number there.
Yeah.
8 seems good for me. For
8 seems about right.
Mel Tucker's, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, but he could have just lost. Well, I mean, obviously there's a buyout, but getting a fat contract can always taking away that little bit more of incentive can kind of slow you down a little bit. But I think college football, you can get bought out so easily. And
yeah, I think he's got a good culture there. I think Michigan State's gonna be pretty solid with him there.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Minnesota coming in at 7.5, plus 100 for the over, minus 120 for the under.
7.5.
Yeah, Minnesota, they got to play.
I'm gonna go under.
Yeah, they got to play Colorado.
I'm gonna go under too.
New Mexico State. I mean, they got some decent non-conference teams.
New Mexico State could beat them. I'd be more scared of them than I would Colorado.
I could see it happening. I think. Yeah, I could see a 7-5 team or 7-5 season for Minnesota pretty easily. 6-6, maybe.
Yeah.
PJ Fleck is the worst too.
Yeah.
Like, gosh.
Then everybody's favorite up next, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 7.5.
Hit that over, baby.
Minus 110. Under minus 110. We got.
What's their prop over odds. 9 wins?
I bet.
Like surely that's out there. Yeah.
It's probably not crazy because I think for them to win the West, I don't think it's anything insane. So, which would probably be over 9 wins.
So, well, here's some interesting. So to win the Big Ten is plus 1,400. To win a national championship is plus 12,500.
I thought it was like plus 20,000, honestly.
It's taking a little bit of a jump. There's more.
They've been listening to Pater. They know what's up.
I will say, I mean, this schedule is so much easier than Nebraska's had the past couple of years. It seemed like somehow Nebraska ended up playing Ohio State every year as schedules got redone. Because we're not in the same division, but somehow we've played them years in a row. So that'll be good to not have them on the schedule. I don't think Michigan State or Penn State's on there either. It's just Michigan is that.
And
yeah,
Oklahoma.
I think it's just, yeah, we do play Oklahoma. Michigan's on the other side for the crossover game. And I think Indiana is the other one, which is, I mean, you can't ask for much better, honestly, unless you're going to play Indiana and Rutgers or something. So I'm excited.
Nebraska does play Rutgers this year.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, do they play Indiana?
Yeah, they play Indiana, Rutgers, and Michigan.
Oh. I guess that makes sense because Big Ten only does 3 non-conference games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's pretty solid for crossover games, obviously. I would kill for an 8-4 season. And I think it's possible, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to go over. So
We're
And
going
another kind of
8-4 is reasonable.
it's
we're going-
reasonable.
We're going 9-3 at minimum.
I hope so.
Here's
Me and
kind
that
of
guy, we connected today over the Huskers winning the Big 10 West.
it could happen. Take plus 1400, or that's winning the Big 10. But
Dude, if they beat Michigan, they're definitely going 10-2.
If they beat Michigan, I would be really surprised if they didn't go 10-2. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know who you're like. If you beat
if they lost
Michigan,
to Oklahoma and Wisconsin, maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
but
honestly-
I don't even think you're going to beat Oklahoma.
yeah, I think we have I feel good about the Oklahoma game. I'll be at that game. I don't know about what's his face, the new coach from Clemson.
Venables.
I just don't think he's going to be the right fit there. I think that's
He's a
perfect
big
because
defensive mind.
Oklahoma still probably be undefeated. They'll play some easy games before us. And then Venables' first away game as a head coach coming into Lincoln. I like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a scary sight for him to see.
He's going to see the Dundon boys looking down on him. Are you kidding me?
He's gonna hear the Dundon boys screaming at him. All three of them. It's gonna be insane. We have next Northwestern, which is always kind of they're such an interesting school, really. There's so
never
many
know
ups
what
and
they'll do.
downs. Yeah, a big ebb and flow with them. But they're sitting at 4 wins right now at plus 100 for the over, minus 120 for the under. And still got to play Ohio State, obviously. Got to play Iowa, Wisconsin, Penn State.
Ooh, those are tough crossovers for them.
Yeah.
Ohio State and Penn State as the crossovers.
Dicey. I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm also going under. I think 4 is a good number, but I think they'll go 3-9.
4. You know what? I'm going over 5-7.
What's the
5-7, and with
non-conference?
the APR, we're getting to a bowl game.
So
Go Northwestern.
they have Duke. And then I don't even know
It's no
what
gimme.
are these two other teams. I'm gonna have to pull up the actual
Wow, stumping you.
schedule.
They're playing someone
I mean,
that
these logos are something that I have never seen before. So we're gonna have to pull up the actual schedule with the names next to them.
do you have the helmet schedule pulled up?
So it's
I love
just
the
the
helmet schedule.
it's just their logos. Okay, so this is Miami, Ohio, but I don't know what this other one is. Let me
gimme there.
Southern Illinois. Yeah, I did not know that logo.
Miami
Southern
of Ohio
Illinois.
could beat them.
I think Duke and Southern Illinois are probably wins for them though. Duke
I
isn't
would say so.
guaranteed, but
Northwestern's been decent at times. I'm going to give
Yeah.
it to Pat Fitzgerald. They're going to win over 4 games.
I do really like Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's a really good coach. I just think they've just got a talent issue, honestly.
it's hard to recruit to Northwestern. They're such an academic school that I think they have GPA requirements and stuff. So it's tough for them.
The Northwestern man.
Purple Vandy.
Everyone's so caught up about their own, like, oh, the Michigan man. I think it's kind of dumb.
Great.
Like, I like there being a standard of something, but it's like, it's not a standard of excellence that only applies to like your institution.
What about the Arkansas man?
Yeah, I did see that the other day.
That's a
Eric
real
must have
man.
just made that up. That was awesome. See, but that was a trait that yeah, I did like that.
What is the Arkansas
but I
man?
love it was
He's
just like
loyal. So
loyal.
strong.
Blue
Like, yeah, this
collar.
guy's awesome. Like, yeah, but you could put those same exact characteristics and call it the Nebraska man right off the bat. It's the same thing. Like, who's the Nebraska man? Oh, he's loyal and true.
Well, they're in the
He's
heartland.
hardworking. Yeah.
Hardworking. Yeah. I mean, any SEC man besides Vanderbilt, I'd say is hardworking.
The Vandy man. I'm the
The
Vandy,
Vandy
man.
man, soft.
Soft.
That's the only adjective I can think for a Vandy man. We do have Ohio State up next at 10.5, which is minus 215 on the over, plus 175 on the under. I could
Over.
see them
Give
going
me that
10-2.
action. Yeah, give
I'm
me that.
taking the
under.
under on that.
Give
I'm
me that
liking
action.
I'm liking that plus 175.
All right, you
Little
guys
extra
both took
money.
under.
No, I'm
Will took
taking
the
over.
Okay. Well, I was gonna flip to the over, but I'll stick with the under. 10-2 seems in my head. No team in college football goes above 10-2. Like when I'm projecting right now, it's pretty much like they'll probably come away with 2 losses, which in most cases is correct. Like there will only be like 3 or 4 teams that don't have at least 2 losses.
Ohio
Playing the
State's got
numbers
some
game.
interesting non-cons. Starting off the season with Notre Dame, obviously new head coach, but Notre Dame is still going to be decent. But they
They'll be
play
solid.
the Arkansas State Red Wolves and then Toledo.
Is that in Jonesboro?
No, so that is in that's at Ohio State. So that's
Oh,
gonna
I
be
thought they were coming to I thought they were coming to A State.
Hey,
That would be
someone
awesome.
mentioned this the other day on Twitter. If Ohio State say they do go 10-2 or something this year, do people like they don't win a Big Ten championship or something? Do people start talking about Ryan Day?
no 10. If you win 10 games, you can't start talking about firing your coach.
You can talk about it.
When you're
He's
used
on the
to
hot
being in the
seat.
playoff every year.
Yeah, but I think you're insane if your team has one season where they go 10-2 and you're calling for a guy's head.
Put
No, it'd be
yourself-
back-to-back
put
years
yourself in this
without winning a
situation,
Big
Churchill.
Ten, without winning a Big Ten. If he didn't even get to the championship game, I think there's room to talk.
I think literally if he misses the playoff like the next 2 years, there will be talks.
I don't think so.
Depends on how he does it and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think Ohio State. I mean, you could throw Bama in there, but besides those two, I think those are the 2 most talented teams in football.
Yeah.
So I think that's where
But if Saban goes 10-2 the next 2 years, does he get fired?
no, but he's won national championships. Ryan Day hasn't won anything yet.
He's been to the playoffs, so that's gotta make something for him.
Has he?
Yeah.
Did he go?
His first season.
Okay.
He was riding the coattails. Let him do it on his own.
Good point.
I think Ryan Day's good, but whatever. I'm taking the under 10-2. He will not be fired and not be on the hot seat. Penn State is up next at 8.5. The over is plus 105 and minus 125 for the under. I could see 9-3.
Yep.
Nice season for Penn State. James Franklin is a good head football coach. And I like that plus 105 mark. I'm taking the over on that as well.
Yeah, I could see potentially 10-2 with a win over Michigan. But yeah, I could see
Ooh.
9-3 for sure.
They've
Sean
got,
Clifford's got to stay healthy though. That's what kind of screwed him last year. That's how they
Yeah.
lost to Iowa. He ended up getting hurt at the end of that game.
Their
So
non-cons are Ohio, Auburn, and Central Michigan.
dude, they're gonna
Destroy all
wax
3 of those
Auburn.
teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one actually could be close early in the year. Like
That's true.
They got to go to Auburn, like coming to Auburn still early in the year. There's a window.
It was
There's
a
a
home
window
and
in
away
college
matchup,
football.
right? Didn't they play Auburn this past year? Yeah.
Yeah,
that
they
game
played
was
at Penn State.
epic.
Yeah.
That was a good game.
That was an epic game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to see an SEC team in that Big Ten, like Happy Valley, going crazy.
That was cool.
I
They need
like
to do
that.
more.
Yeah, they do need to do that more. Don't worry. In my future of college football, a lot more home atmosphere.
Once you decide
Yeah,
or start
once I'm
deciding the
scheduling,
games.
I don't even. Yeah, I just need to schedule everything. Y'all set up the conferences. Just let me schedule. Anyway, that's kind of that early part of the year where a team's will hasn't been broken yet. Like Auburn doesn't even know it's that bad yet.
They
So
have
it
false
can-
hope. Yeah.
Yeah, you see it every year. There's like teams
That is week 3, though. What if Auburn has an early terrible loss?
Yeah, I mean that's very possible too.
I could see it happening.
If Auburn's
they got to play
undefeated, though,
Mercer
going into
and
that
San
game.
Jose State in both those games.
See,
are home.
they're gonna probably be 2-0.
Yeah, I mean,
It would take something outrageous to happen. That's what I'm saying. So they'll be 2-0 going to that game, but then they could lose that game and then lose like 9 of their next 10.
Yeah,
But I actually think that game singularly will be fairly close. Week 3 at Auburn. Like that'll be hype. Like that'll be a big game.
Yeah, Auburn starts off the season with 5 straight games at home.
Yeah, I mean, you're undefeated with a team like that coming into your home stadium.
You're gonna be
Atmosphere will be
fired
pretty
up.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think Penn State's better and will win at
Yeah.
the same time.
You can't
So-
count them out, though. I get what you're saying.
We've got 2 teams left here. Purdue at 7.5 plus 100 for the over, minus 120 for the under. And Purdue is playing, looks like Indiana State, Syracuse, and FAU as their non-cons.
You know what? Give me the over.
Yeah, I'm going over.
Thinking
On
8 and
nothing
4.
other than Purdue. I like the
Aiden
big
O'Connell,
drum.
man.
I like
He
the
can sling it.
trains. I'm a big fan of trains. I like the Boilermakers.
Yeah, because so they play Penn State to open up the year, then play Indiana State, Syracuse, and FAU, followed up by Minnesota, Maryland, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, Indiana. They're kind of finishing the year pretty weak there, but middle of the year they've got some tougher games in Wisconsin, Iowa, and Nebraska. Maryland, Minnesota aren't pushovers either. So
Purdue is the Mississippi State of the Big Ten. They got a quarterback who can sling it. He's not a sexy name, but he's probably better than most of the other guys. They get more hype.
Yeah.
Got gritty
Hey,
coaches.
you know what? That statement alone, next week we should do like equivalent of each other in the other conference. Like who is the Arkansas of the Big Ten or the Tennessee of the Big Ten or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I have to think
Huskers in Tennessee.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I have to think the Huskers in Tennessee would have to be each other's mirrors.
Arkansas and Michigan State, maybe.
Oh, I could see something like that, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd
That's what
say
we gotta look
Michigan
into.
State or maybe even Penn State.
Yeah.
Well,
Penn
if we're
State-
talking like recent history, like the trajectories, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I
I
think
mean, I
there's a
guess
lot
we're-
of I think there's kind of a lot that could go into it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you pair a little bit of tradition with also like current success and
Mhm.
I don't know. Something fun to do. I would honestly say something like Iowa or something.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's like too consistent. I don't know. It'd be fun to just kind of look through 2 lists and think about that.
I like it.
We'll have to
Because you
check it
probably
out.
go what? Bama, Ohio State,
Yeah.
and then
Georgia
know.
and Michigan, honestly.
yeah,
Georgia
I
and
would probably
Michigan.
I'd probably say that. It's pretty good. You don't quite have the rivalry, but that's a pretty good rivalry right now, at least intense. I could
Yeah.
go there. I like that.
We'll have to do some crossovers. Last we have Wisconsin at 8.5. Over is minus 145. Under is plus 125. And just looking at this real quick, New Mexico State, they've got a tough schedule. They're playing Wisconsin as well as Minnesota. So some of their non-cons, New Mexico
Put 'em in the
State,
Big
you're in
Ten.
trouble.
Yeah.
And then they're playing, it looks like Ball State, I believe, and then Washington State is their other non-conference.
I mean, 8.5 is kind of the perfect number for Wisconsin. I have them going 9-3. Wisconsin will be no different than they've always been, in case you were wondering. So
Yeah,
that's why
8 or
8-4,
9
9-3 is very possible with a sneaky 10-2 possibility. But I've got them going 9-3. They're going to run the ball, play pretty solid defense.
No one has been more just purely consistent than Wisconsin over the
Yeah.
last 20 years. Like you turn on any given Saturday and you'll see Wisconsin just pounding the ball out. Like you'll see them just run into their offense. It's looked exactly the same. No matter the coach, no matter the players, it's been the same thing. And they're going to win most of their games and then lose a few close ones.
So I'm
What's-
looking here to see the last time they were under 500, and that was 2001.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
What's
impressive.
funny about Wisconsin too is they're so happy playing their brand of football. They'll play Incarnate Word and win 23-10, doing exactly the same thing they do against Minnesota, but win that game 45-10, you know?
Yeah.
Like they just keep running the ball. If you can't stop it, they have no problem. Like they'll run the clock. If they score 40 points, cool. They know you're not going to have enough time to score because they're running all the clock out. So
They should have won the Natty with Russell Wilson. That would have been awesome.
that was the year to do it. I mean,
They were
Was that
good.
when Bielema was there?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bielema had some. I'm looking at their
he won
Yeah,
the Big
Bielema
Ten.
won
records.
3 straight. That's a crazy, like, thinking about that hire in retrospect, like hiring away the coach that just won 3 Big Ten championships was baller. Like, it happened to be Bielema, and it didn't quite work out at Arkansas, but kind of a sick move.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, you're thinking, "Wow, that is an amazing hire."
Yeah, it is like a crazy good hire.
That's
Didn't
yeah,
quite produce in the SEC. It's different beast.
It is a different beast.
Well, he did. I mean, he was put into the Wisconsin system. He just
Barry
was like
Alvarez.
he literally
Yeah.
was Barry Alvarez's
Nothing's-
puppet.
There's been 3 or 4 different coaches there. Nothing's changed. And that's why I think it was Gary Peterson was the coach there and left for Oregon State. And everyone
It was
kinda
Gary
wondering-
Anderson. Yeah,
Gary
He-
Anderson. Everyone was
he
kind of
had to
wondering.
pay $3 million to get out of his contract.
Yeah. Everyone was like, why would you leave? Like you're winning. I think it's because he wasn't allowed to coach, basically, honestly.
Yeah, that's why they run the same offense and everything.
You know, it's funny. It's because
Alvarez's thumb.
Barry Alvarez played for the Huskers and he's just running exactly what the Huskers did back in the 20th century.
Awesome.
No.
I didn't know he played at Nebraska.
Yeah, I think he's kind of salty about it because he probably won't. I think he,
At one
I doubt
point,
he
he
does.
definitely wanted to go to Nebraska. I'm
well,
sure.
he wanted to be the coach or the AD and didn't get the opportunity. So he went to Wisconsin and he's salty about it.
He needs to get over it. He's that kind of person that would be salty about something like that. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
didn't work out. Like, enjoy the success you've had. Go win a natty, though. Can't do it quite at Wisconsin.
They had that one year. I think they won the Orange Bowl. They won like 11 games or something, or maybe they went 12-2. Actually,
Oh, they've had some really good years. I mean, some of those.
We still talking Wisconsin. Sorry, I was looking at stuff.
yeah,
So they went 13-1 just in 2017.
that must have been it.
Paul Christ.
Why did they not get in the playoff? Oh, before the playoff.
No, was
No,
2017. Well,
Yeah, I think
because
six-
2016 was the first one, wasn't it?
yeah, 16 or 15.
I think it might
Yeah,
have been
it
15.
15. It might have been
Because I
15.
think 15 is
Ohio
when Ohio
State.
State won. And they did win the first playoff. Maybe. I don't know. It's the first one I can remember.
Yeah, what
Yeah,
would
so
have happened if they didn't
Washington-
get in?
Washington got it. Was number 4, and they went 12-1 or 12-1, won the Pac-12. God, they played Colorado in the Pac-12 championship, beat them 41-10. So just absolute thrashing in their championship game. Probably got them in.
You would think that a one-loss Big Ten team would get in over a one-loss Pac-12.
That
Yeah.
is pretty interesting.
Was Washington? They lost a game in the regular season, or did they go undefeated and then lose in the playoff?
So their final record was 12-2, so they had to
Oh, yeah.
to lose a
Okay.
game during the year. And looking at Wisconsin in 2017, they lost the Big Ten to Ohio State. They were undefeated and then lost the Big Ten to Ohio State 27-21. So I
Dang.
guess the recent loss can knock you out.
Well, did Ohio State get in,
Yeah.
or did no team? Okay, I mean that makes sense. I think it's fair. That may have been the year Penn State really wanted to get in.
So it was Alabama at 1, Clemson at 2, Ohio State at 3, Washington at 4. So that's when Clemson beat Ohio State 31-0 in the first semifinals game. And then Clemson
Dang.
beat Alabama 35-31.
Wow. Yeah, 17. Yeah, that was Hunter Renfro
Yeah, that
catching
game
the
was
game winner.
crazy. That was pretty nuts.
Yeah. I think, was that the last one?
That was it. We have covered the Big Ten.
Heck yeah. All
It's
right.
covered.
I think we'll wrap it up. It's getting pretty late here in the mid-state and out in the heartland. So we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thanks again for listening. This has been Pay Dirt Sports, part of the Six Pack Coverage Network. Be sure to check them out, sixpackcoverage.com, at sixpackcoverage on Instagram and Twitter. Check us out, website paydirtsports.blog, Twitter at paydirt_sports, and on Instagram at paydirtsports. Guys, thanks again for listening, and we will see y'all next week.
Pay Dirt out.